Alrighty, alrighty. What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Bear with me 1 second. Let me get everything out. What's up, bro? How's everything, man? Dude, it was a hot flipping day today, bro. I can't tell you how. Yeah, well, I mean, I know you know how hot it was, bro, but it is freaking just. I don't know. I went outside by the pool today, bro, and the pool's like a damn bathtub. It is just horrendous. But yeah, yeah, dude, it's ridiculous, man. Yeah, try trying to have a crypto mining farm in your garage. I mean, my garage is probably like 130 degrees, but anyway, uh, your FPL. Well, I'll tell you what. Luckily, I've got that solar, man. So I've got 13 kW system that at least like offsets that, but I can only imagine. Um, I have some buddies that live a little further north, and they don't have FPL as their provider, and dude, they saw their power bills double because of the cost of fuel and everything. It's just ridiculous, man. But anyway, it is that time, right? 7 p.m. Eastern, sun's about setting, so everybody's walking their animals, walking their dogs. So you're going to hear all the damn dogs in my house going crazy because everyone and their mom needs to go out there and bark at the dogs walking by. But anyway, yeah, man, you got it, bro. You got it. So let's dive into it. We got some good volatility coming in this week. Hopefully, you guys were able to see, especially last week, when the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Jay Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, decided that he was going to open his mouth. Hopefully you saw the price action on it. That's something I told a lot of the guys that I mentor, that don't worry about trading this because the spreads are just stupid, but pay attention to that price action. It's going to really tell you what's going on, who's driving this market, buyers, sellers. And, if you really paid attention to the dollar, I would strongly advise against trying to short the dollar. DXY is just screaming. We just reaccumulated again today. So we'll get into it. Let's look at the fundamentals that we could potentially see at play this week. And one of the key things that I'm going to be personally looking for is obviously, we do have jobs reports coming out on Friday. So that's going to be something major leading into Friday. So I'm already anticipating Thursday, Friday going to be my bigger days of the week. Even though surprisingly for a Tuesday, I was able to knock out a good chunk of percentages today off of some really clean plays, but we'll kind of go into them. But really what I'm going to be focusing on is ISM manufacturing, right? So we're going to see that really affect dollar pairs as well as indices, right? We're going to see that. And of course, what we get tomorrow, where did I see it? I know. Oh, there it goes. Chicago PMI. So especially what we get tomorrow in Chicago PMI. So that's really going to be my big thing that I'm going to be looking at. I really don't think we're going to the month over month inflationary reports for the Swiss bank are really going to affect much. Maybe we see a little spark in the Swiss franc, but I'm still very much bullish on US dollar Swiss franc. And that's really it. I mean, one thing you do notice is the Canadian dollar is not going to be doing their jobs reports on Friday. That's going to actually be the following week. So, we've got some really good information coming out this week. And then, of course, Monday, if you are in the US or Canada, we know it's Labor Day. So it's a huge federal holiday. So I would imagine that a lot of the work is going to be done Thursday and Friday when it comes to price action. And I think Monday, it's just going to be one of those that we're going to kind of moseying into the new start of the week. All right. But yeah, absolutely. With this information, right? I mean, I'm the last couple of weeks, I've just been really dollar driven. So I'm really going to be just continuing to look for my EU, GU shorts. AU and NU have confirmed for me to start looking for shorts. So I'm going to be taking those. UCAD has just been on a tear. I'll kind of go through that. I'm still holding some buys on UCAD. The price action from last week was pretty nice, phenomenal. And of course, UJ confirming reaccumulation as well today for me. So I'm ready. That's back on my primary watch list, as well as US dollar Swiss franc. So dollar driven is really going to happen this week for me. And everything's kind of just lining up really nicely. I did have EJ as well on my list because EJ confirmed reaccumulation for me. So I could start playing some order flow at it. but really it's going to be all dollar driven. And of course, ACAD and NCAD. And ACAD today gave me a freaking phenomenal entry. I was really disappointed it didn't give me the second entry, but I am in but I think it's like a 1 to 35, 136, something like that on ACAD with some profits already taken. So we'll dive into it, but fundamentally everything's going to be pretty much just being hammered in by the dollar. All right. So that's really what I'm going to be focused on. Jumping over to the charts. So let's get into it. Kind of give you like my thought process. You got it, man. Absolutely, bro. There we go. Let's get into this. Yeah, I'm also in an EU short from today, but we'll see. We'll see. I really am not holding out too much hope for it. So let's get over here. Let's start with the dollar. These are the pairs that I was really focused on today, looking for entries. But we'll start with the bigger picture, right? Let's clean this up for a second. There we go. So, I mean, much like we've been talking about, this dollar has just been driving and driving and driving. You know, we came in over the last couple of weeks, you know, coming back into our area of demand that we were looking for. We've made a new high. So we know order flow wise, we're in this leg, right? So I'm still holding out hope that we can get a pullback. It's really not looking like it's going to happen. So looking at what's happened in the last, I'd say like 72 hours of market conditions, we've just seen just an enormous amount of, you know, complex pullback, jump our creek, give a shakeout and make a new high. And voila, we've got a reaccumulation. So right now, this is my focal point on dollar index. I'm just looking to keep driving this up. If we break order flow, I just revert back to the previous leg. You know, I did want to see us at least get into this price action from Friday. This is Friday's price action that Powell kind of like spearheaded. And I was really hoping to get that. We didn't see that, but this morning, especially during New York session, we really had some really good price action. You know, coming in, we had a really ugly, after sweeping Asian lows, we really had an ugly accumulation, but it is what it is, an accumulation nonetheless. And we just saw price just really just go through a bunch of mitigations. This one right here was pretty fire, coming in right at the 80% of this micro that happened in there. And we were using this to just trade comparatively strength with Euro USD. So unfortunately, Euro USD ends up breaking this high, which kind of took us out at reduced risk on an entry we took today. But I got back in afterwards. And really what, you know, this is your typical end of New York session, just crappy price action. So, you know, I've got it boxed out. You could obviously alerts here, and I've got alerts here because ideally price goes higher. I'm going to be looking for that shakeout, and hopefully perfect scenario for me would be Frankfurt does something like this, sweeping out all this. We go higher, and then I'm looking to play out of here. So that's really what I'm going to be focused on. You know, there's really nothing for me to do right now with it. It's just wait to see what London does. And then if we go higher, great. If we go lower, even better, right? Because what am I looking for? I'm looking to see if we redistribute. I want to see us come back into here, right? This is my institutional move, right? This is the sell to the buy where the massive buy order came in. This is what I want to see us get into, is right here. So, and of course, target wise, where am I taking this? I mean, I've been calling, you know, I think it was like 120 is where I want to see us get up to. It's up here. This is where I want to see us get up into. And, you know, if you just look at, let me hide all the drawings on this. If you just look at how very clear this thing has just been moving, it is no weakness whatsoever. So, you know, could we come back down into here before going up to the next high? Absolutely. And if that's the case, then so be it. You know, I'll wait it out. No big deal. So EU, right? EU is going to be the exact opposite of that. And when we look at, come on, there we go. So when we look at what we want to get really into EU with, it's the same concept, right? I mean, obviously, if we go a little higher, then great. You know, can we trade up into this area here, or can we get up into here? Yes. I don't think we are going to get up there because I don't think the dollar's got it in it to be to give us that pullback. But what I am looking for is, I already know that this price action breaks this low on dollar index. I know dollar index is driving the market. So EU is the laggard, right? Dollar's the leader, EU is the laggard. I can really care less if we haven't made a new low. What I am looking for is targeting this right here. Okay, specifically the price action from Friday. So could we come a little higher into this 80%? We could. If that's the case, I'll play it. You can already see that we've got a really nice distribution in the making here. I just want to now kind of see what London's going to bring us. All right. There was an entry. And this is kind of what we took this morning. It was pretty simple. Just following this along. There we go. Just following this along. The first entry we attempted was just playing redistro. You know, price is just walking itself down. It was a really clean type 1 distribution in here. We ended up taking the 50% of that type 1, which lines up with the 80% of the whole move. And as price came in, gave us an entry, gave us a reaction. So we reduced risk. And then, you know, from there, it just kind of stopped us out. So I was perfectly fine. I gave it a Tuesday risk. So it was a smaller risk than I normally do. Reduced risk, which perfect with me. And then what ended up happening was we made a new low. So now I just did the same thing, just measured out the entire move. This was my 80%. So as price came into that 80%, that's where I threw a little entry in. And she gave all my confirmations, which was good. That's what I wanted to see. This was my distribution with my terminal shakeout. We break, measured the whole thing out, took it off the 80%. So I got filled there. I'm still in it. You know, I'm still sitting at reduced risk on it. I have paid myself what I have at risk on it. So, you know, if this thing ends up stopping me out at reduced risk, I honestly don't lose anything except for, well, I'm selling it. So I have positive spread. So across all my brokers, positive spread on EU. So I'm sorry, positive swap. I'm not even paying a swap fee on it. So I'm actually getting paid to hold it out. So yeah, I mean, and you can kind of see what I'm looking for. I'm looking for to see, do we just collapse on this? If we do, great. I'll just play continuation move. You know, realistically, we broke here. So we're this in order flow. And of course, if we break some more, then we're going to be, I guess we'll be on this one here to go lower. So I'm not really interested in any of the price action from crossover. I'm just going to be waiting to see where we are exactly at Frankfurt, what we sweep or manipulate from Asian price action. And then, you know, overall, I'm just targeting new lows. So I want to get down and make obviously a new low and continue going down with this. You know, nothing about this is showing me any kind of strength. So from a management perspective, I'm going to be taking more partials just because we are at extremely discount pricing. So for me, realistically, like when we make new lows, I'll probably close out half the order and just keep holding what I have. Because, you know, could we then accumulate here just to get back up into premium? Yeah. You know, I mean, this is just order. If you really think about it, it's order flow of order flow of order flow. You know, I mean, it's like order flow to like the 10th degree. So, you know, I'd be more interested if we could get back up into like this price action, because this is where I want to see it happen. But until we break order flow, right? Until we get up there, I won't have that. So that's my plan with EU, is just keep shorting this. You know, once we break order flow, I'm just going to sit back on my hands and wait for us to either come back into premium, into my points of interest, or wait for us to make a new low, you know, and then just play mitigation of that. Yeah, it took you out. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was perfectly fine with it. I lost, I think it was something like 20% of my full stop loss. So for me, that's still a positive. You know, and then of course, like I'm still in it, you know, I came back and got the money back on it anyway. So, the other one I'm looking at is GU, right? And GU pretty similar, right? I mean, GU is just falling off the face of the earth. And what I'm looking at, obviously from a leg perspective, we're here, right? Over the last couple of weeks, we've just been shorting this left and right. Been giving really great entries in here were the really good entries that I caught the previous week, and I'm still holding those, right? When we jump down and we look at the lower time frame stuff, we've got this right here, right? So we know we broke, we know we have our manipulation being right here. So obviously, if we come higher into this, this is what I wanted. This was my alert. I wanted us to get up into here so I can short it. Unfortunately, GU didn't have it in it. So I'm now prepared to play order flow of order flow of order flow, right? We've got a really, really nice distribution that happened during London price action. So, this is where I got my money on. And if we can get it up into that area, that's going to be great. If not, the redistro that happens during New York price action, right? That's what I want. This is pretty much New York. New York opens actually right here, but we have an accumulation that goes into a distribution that ultimately is responsible for this break. So for me, this is my slingshot, and this is the extreme for me. I'm going to be looking. I personally have orders on that GU distribution up at the top. And, you can see I've got my alert right here. So I have no intention of waking up early tomorrow for London. So, if it happens during London, so be it. If it doesn't, and I get up and it's during crossover, I'll definitely be waiting to see, can I get some kind of distribution in here? If not, bring this puppy right back up here so I can short it. Right. The risk to reward, I know, is already going to be worth it. Coming in, if we come up into the 50% of this, we're talking about 130 pip move. So same thing like EU, I'm going to be taking significant volume off just because we're playing order flow of order flow, right? I'm not trying to hold these for 1,000 pips. I'll keep runners, just like I have runners out of the previous week's, price action. This thing's at 430 pips in profit. So, I'll keep the runners and let them go, but I'm definitely taking significant profits as we make the low. I have no interest whatsoever in trying to hedge any of it, just because I have seen absolutely zero evidence of buyers coming into this. So I'm just going to continue to short it. All right. So GU and EU are pretty similar. Real easy price action to follow along with. The next one, and actually, let me just move all of this back over because I'll have to redo this tomorrow morning. Bear with me. There we go. So AU, pretty much the same picture, right? I'm looking shorts. I really wanted us to get into, after breaking last week, up into either my slingshot or into the distribution that's holding it all. We got there, but this was Friday's price action. So what do? We just broke order flow, redistributed, right? This whole thing is a redistribution for me. And I was really, I was really hoping we get back up into this. So unfortunately, we came into the open, and where we sit right now is I just need us to break this low, and I'm ready to play out of this morning's price action, right? If we don't break the low, then I'm still 100% fine with it coming back up into this area. And this is my first point of interest. Then I'm going to be looking to short it. Right. So if it gives me a distribution in here, game on, we're taking it down. And I'm going to be obviously targeting first partials are here and then a new low down in here. If we can get that, great. If not, right, if this thing ends up just collapsing and we go higher with it, then so be it. And I'll look to play out of here. I really doubt that we are going to come up into this area. I think we're just going to kind of play in here. Price action may slow down, right? I mean, we do have next week is really the big Australia news. So, I mean, we have NFP at the end of the week. I can pretty much guarantee that, tomorrow and Thursday, if we don't have anything right at crossover at the New York Open, that it's just going to be kind of dead price action. So I am going to be looking to short it though. And NU is going to be the same thing. What's the difference between an SC and a regular redistro or reaccumulation that breaks structure? So my slingshot point of interest is the last buy or the last sell orders that caused the break. Yeah. So, because I mean, I guess you can go on a 1 second time frame and you can find a reaccumulation that breaks. So for me, it's where that last buy or the last sell order that actually comes in to create the entire move. That's my slingshot. Okay. So NU, right? NU, let's see here. So NU is going to be the same thing. And obviously we talked about this last week. Kiwi's taken over. I would say like the last 3 weeks, Kiwi's taken over and it's actually the leader. So across all the NZD crosses, NZD CAD, NZD USD, we're seeing just massive weakness coming in on the Kiwi side. So which is fine. And that's, obviously if you're using it as a comparable strength, you're able to get into some of these positions a little quicker. Coming in, we can definitely see market cycle, right? We came into 80% of our leg. We're anticipating a new low. And from here, what's maintaining my order flow? Well, my order flow is this, right? It's this redistribution sitting right here. So I'm not interested in anything here anymore until we make a new low and then we have a new leg, right? Then we can back it up. But what I'm going to be looking for is just like AU, I want to see, can we get in? So can we get in up here? And if we do, great. If not, if we break the low, then I'm going to be looking out of crossover, right? Crossover into New York session is what I'm going to be looking for. So it's really going to be dependent on what we do again during Asian into London. So if we end up making the low, I'm playing out of here, right? And you can already see like you've got an accumulation and you've got a distribution, right? There's your creek, or I'm sorry, your ice. You got a redistro. Okay. So this is your manipulation. That's pretty much what I'm going to be looking to do with it. So she's either got to come like 37 pips down, or she needs to stroll up about 70 pips up. So, really, I could care less which it goes. I'd prefer it to go up because then I can get some more pips coming down. But, it really doesn't bother me which way we go with it. I'm honestly, again, in order for us to go higher, it's really going to depend on the dollar showing us weakness. And coming into the middle of the week, fundamentally, there's nothing that's going to be really providing that weakness. And technically, I don't see anything either. I mean, we could break order flow, take out that reaccumulation, come a little deeper into demand. I just don't see it happening. So NU, AU, GU, and NU, and I'm sorry, EU are all just pretty much the same thing. I'm just looking to short the crap out of them, right? I want to see these kind of just present themselves to a point where I can get into some positions, take some partials, and just hang on for the rest of the ride with it. All right. Moving on to some of the dollar crosses now, right? Moving on to some of the dollar crosses. So US dollar Swiss franc has been on my secondary list for a little bit just because of where we were, right? Coming back bigger picture, I was really hoping that that we can get into this price action, right? So this is where I wanted. Lo and behold, there was my alert, and yeah, we came about 15 pips shy of the alert. So unfortunately, no entry from the bottom for me. What we were able to do though is we can definitely start to see that we've broken order flow, right? We've broken order flow here, taking out the redistribution, and in this leg, right? This is the lowest form of order flow that I really care about. In this leg, we just see nothing but buyers in this market, right? We are seeing accumulation after reaccumulation after reaccumulation. So this allows me at least to say, okay, I know dollar's bullish. I know Swiss franc is definitely bearish because if all I got to do is just invert the US dollar Swiss franc chart, and that's your Swiss franc futures chart, right? So what do we got? And realistically, what does price do? Well, we know that price creates a reaccumulation that causes the break of order flow. And then out of that, we potentially had a reaccumulation. However, we never broke. So what do we do come Friday with the news? Imagine that we come right into our 80% of our reaccumulation shakeout that causes the break. So never in a million years would I ever take into that trade. I think at one point, US dollar Swiss franc was like almost a 3 pip spread coming into that news event. So nothing I can do with that. But what I can do now is I know that we confirm reaccumulation. So we come back into this price action down here. I'm a buyer, right? There's nothing really in here that I'm interested in doing. I need us to come down here. So for US dollar Swiss franc, I need dollar to weaken. I need to give a pullback on the dollar so that I can potentially work an entry in from this. And if we don't do that, the only other way that I can get in is on a fresh reaccumulation. So what I would need to see is if like this is New York price action from today and we kind of give something like this and we now break, now I'll come back and play out of the shakeout that causes that to then go higher with it. So it's either we need to come back to mitigate previous manipulation or we have a fresh reaccumulation that I'll play. So that's kind of my process that I'm looking at with US dollar Swiss franc. On UCAD, right? UCAD's been very, 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 very clean. I'll say a moment of silence for everybody that's been trying to sell UCAD. My condolences. I have been very, very bullish on UCAD and have been taking the buys. I mean, it's given us just super, super clean buys. So coming back, right? We obviously know that, I mean, we have the accumulation into the reaccumulation that causes the very lowest form of order flow break here, right? Obviously, we still know that this high is the target. This high represents absolutely nothing for me, right? This is not maintaining any kind of leg structure. It's not maintaining anything. If we come back out here, what has it done? Diddly squat, right? This is the leg right here. This is the market cycle, the accumulation that takes all the way up into the distro. We have a distribution into an accumulation that's jumped our creek, and nothing in here is showing any glimpse of sellers coming into this market. So I'm going to continue to play the buys, right? I'm going to continue to just take what I can out of UCAD and ride this up. The key that I'm going to be looking for now, though, is this. So obviously, looking at it from this lowest form of order flow, we had the break, distribution, redistro, into an accumulation, into a reaccumulation that was Friday. Okay. So we are still here, right? This is just a reaccumulation for me. All right. So we are still in this leg. So if we come lower, right? If we come lower, I'm playing ball with it. I'm going to buy from here. If we do not come lower, this is the lowest form of order flow right here, right? This reaccumulation represents the lowest form of leg that I care to play. And if we can get down into this accumulation right here, I'm going to play ball with it. I'm going to take the buy. I'd like to see us come down into this area somewhere in here. Now, I do have a limit order, and if you have the seconds time frame, definitely give it a look. Trade it how you want to trade it. I can tell you what I'm going to be doing. You can screenshot it after the fact or whatever if you don't have the seconds time frame so you can see it. But I can guarantee you that I will have a limit order off of this right here. All right. This right here is going to have my limit order right there. So I'm going to take it off the 50%. Could it come to the 80? Sure. But I'm not, well, I'm already going to have a reduced risk on it because I don't need to risk much on a 1.8 pip stop. But this right here is where I'm going to have my limit order. It's actually already on there. So, definitely something I'm going to be looking at. This is crossover. So Eastern Standard Time, you could see it's 4:30 to like 5:05 is where the accumulation actually happens. This is what's responsible for the break. So I do like this type 1. I'm a huge fan of it. I think this is potentially a really good location of where we're going to come back into. And then we'll see. I mean, obviously, if we don't come back in there, that's why I have my overall, where's she at? There we go. That's why I have my overall measurement of the entire move, because we can potentially just come right back to 50%, accumulate here and go higher. All right. How I'm going to personally manage this is new high, right? Whatever the high is of today, if we come in here like this and then come down, new high is going to get half volume off just because of where we are on UCAD. I can, higher time frame, I can potentially expect us to get a pullback of some sort. And then I'm going to be working in to make a new high up here, right? This is going to be my overall goal. So probably around like the 32.20 level is where I'm going to be looking to focus. And then, eventually we can maybe get another pullback, just like we've been waiting here, just like we waited over here. UCAD has been and I know I shared this like in the Aporia group, UCAD over the last, I'd say like 24 months, maybe even 36 months has just been super clean for me. Really all you had to do is just wait. I mean, I know I've been buying UCAD since back in here, but I mean, just look at it. It's, you don't get cleaner price action than this, right? You got to wait it out. If I told you that if you would wait 90 to 180 days, that you'd be able to secure 600 pips at each pull, I mean, why wouldn't you do it? You know, so you can bet that when we do come back into this price action here, that when she does get in here, I'll be waiting for another 600 pip move. And I'll hold it just like I did when we came back in here, just like that buy right there. I held until we broke this high. I'm going to do the same thing. And it's just rinse and repeat. All right. So UCAD, definitely I'm looking for the buys, need a small little pullback for us to come back down. Not very much. I mean, we're only talking about 89 pips, which is pretty much what we did yesterday, right? From London session into New York. You know, we saw that on a Tuesday, which is actually pretty odd, especially without any real oil news, without any real Canadian news, without any real dollar news. And we had a little bit of dollar news this morning, but that was about it. So, you know, I am going to be looking to buy some more UCAD. And of course, UJ as well. Let's zoom out here. So on the UJ front, we're looking at the same thing. Again, my condolences to everybody who is trying to sell this thing right here. Here, hold on. We'll get a better picture. There you go. My condolences to anybody who's trying to sell UJ. Yeah, I mean, even though I have this up here as a potential reversal point, there is absolutely zero signs of weakness coming in. Now, does that mean that we can't maybe start to build something here? Sure, we can. If we're going to build this, then we're talking maybe another 6 months of price action being up here, and we'll know. You know, it's not like it's not going to get snuck in. They're not going to do this overnight. So we're going to have months and months and months of price action just kind of going back and forth in the range. So what I'm looking at here is, obviously I've been trying to buy UJ. Actually, you could see, I mean, we were trying to buy in here. We were trying to buy out of this. We did get an opportunity. So there was an opportunity last week, and let me get over here. So what I'm looking at is this. So we have a reaccumulation here that causes the break. So obviously this is what I'm looking for mitigation of. That kind of lines up pretty nicely with the reaccumulation into the reaccumulation, with that being the shakeout that causes the break. So I treat this as my slingshot that causes the break of this whole leg. So if we do come back, and you can see I've got my alert right here. If we do come back into this area, this is my X marks the spot. All right. So this is where I really want price to come into. Now, if price, this is like a trade of opportunity for me, since we did reaccumulate here and we did this out of crossover right here. If we do come back either come back into this reaccumulation here or into this accumulation here, I will be looking for a schematic to take this higher. It's not going to be high on my priority list just because of the location and where we are with it. Risk to reward wise, it's not the greatest. So it's going to be lower on the priority for me, but it still is valid, right? It still is price action that if it confirms for me, I'm going to pull the trigger on and take it. All right. So we do have a reaccumulation, right? We did go ahead and give a decent shakeout, and we did create a reaccumulation that gave the break. So inside of here, you can see again, my alert's sitting right here, because ideally what I want is I prefer just continuation like this. Maybe we get a Frankfurt sweep, give me something to take it up, right? That's what I want to see. So obviously confirmations are going to be out of this leg. It's just going to be schematic driven. There's no limit orders I'm going to put on it, right? I want to see schematics. If it gives me an accumulation, and if I miss the accumulation, then I just play the continuation move, right? Play the reaccumulation out of it. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. But yeah, that's my plan with UJ. So really the game plan with all the dollar crosses are pretty much the same. You know, they're lining up pretty nicely. At what time do I stop trading? Minus Friday, because Friday I'm done pretty early. I would say that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I'm pretty much done looking at charts by London close, and I do not want my order to get filled past 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's my personal rule. So yeah. Okay, so EJ now, EJ is a little pain in the butt, man. EJ, So EJ finally got promoted because we confirmed reaccumulation right here. All right. So when we broke this right here, she got promoted up for my secondary list because now I'm willing to play out of here or out of here because this is now the new leg. So all was good with it. I ended up trying to take a reaccumulation play out of here. The 50% was just stupid risk to reward. So I wasn't going to take it off the 50, even if I offset it. So what I ended up doing, I had a limit order off the 80, and obviously I wanted to get it up, and she did. I mean, she moved like 75 pips, but she moved off the 50, and it just gave absolutely zero entry for me here at the 50. So, I mean, she did give 76 pips. It is what it is. You know, I missed out on it. But at this point, I either want us to really just continue going higher with it or give me the pullback. I honestly prefer the pullback. So, which is why I've got an alert sitting right here. I do want us to get back and, you know, give me a schematic so that I can walk this back up and target. For me, my target's going to be these highs up here, right? I want to get these highs, break this up here. That's going to be, so we're talking, I mean, realistically, let's just say we can get into here. We're talking about an 800 pip move is what I'm looking for. So could we come lower? Yeah, I mean, we could, but order flow and everything I'm seeing in here is buyers in the market, buyers in the market. I do not see, even in here, I didn't see sellers. I felt like this was just profit taking on the JPY crosses. So that's really what I'm looking with EJ. Now, ACAD was very, very profitable today. So what I'm looking to do, let's get, you know, we talk about ACAD every week. ACAD is massively bearish, massively bearish. So, you know, going back real quick, the distribution that causes the low, we come back to 80% of it. Coming into the UTAD, we make a new low, and we come back into 80% of that. So this being the test, this being our LPSY, we're just walking this down. Out of this, let's get down into here. So out of this, what I was looking for was, so we have a distribution that comes back into area of supply, and that distribution, right, here's your trading range, that distribution confirms by breaking order flow, right? So we break order flow. After that break of order flow, I now want price to come back into my UTAD, and this is the 50. This is the 80 of the UTAD. So we come back into that 50 of the UTAD. And then out of that, this was the entry this morning. So again, for me, pretty clean. I really like, this is what it looks like on the 1 minute. So we had a type 1 with divergence. So divergence both on the RSI, so it was relative strength divergence, as well as comparable strength with NCAD. And when we actually make the high here, NCAD actually makes the low. So we had comparable strength, and then we had divergence on the RSI. So I just measured out my UTAD, which UTAD, this is the buy to the sell right here, and took it off the 80%. So it was like a 1.6 pip stop loss. Actually, I think it was like 1.8. Yeah, 1.8 with the spread. So took it off the 80, super, super clean. And what do we have? We have an accumulation with a distribution that breaks, and thus we have a redistro. So obviously I took this entry. I was really hoping to get a second entry out of this to walk it down. Really didn't give me the entry. That she never comes back. Just following this along during New York session, same thing, right? We get a accumulation with a distribution, break through the ice. So the 50% was just way too big of a stop. It was like 8.5 pips. Yeah, it was 8.5 pips. So I had an entry on the 80%, lined up really nicely with this micro distro in here off the 50. But I don't get filled. We make a low, and then you can kind of just see what I was looking at here. Just playing the distro. We just never get pullbacks. So I only got the one order in, but I'm not too disappointed with it because, like I said, where she's sitting at currently at current price action, she's at a 1 to 36. So 1 to 36 ain't too bad. I've paid myself the risk. I'm going to partial out once we take out Asian lows. That'll be closer to like a 1 to 50 when we get down here. And then I'm just going to keep going low with it. Yeah, it was super clean, especially for a Tuesday. So are these streams every day? Oh, no, no, man. My wife will never let that happen, bro. No, I only do streams on Tuesdays, man. Yeah, I only do Tuesdays 7 p.m. for like the weekly thing. Um, so yeah, I mean that's really what I'm looking at. And again, overall, what's the overall goal? The overall goal is to confirm the inevitable redistribution that we're going to have by breaking this down here, right? So that's what I want to see. I want to see this break. And then eventually just keep walking this down because we have all of this price action down here. So from that entry, I mean, I could potentially see price going for 288 pips, you know, before we make a new low and then potentially work its way back up into mitigation. So ACAD was something I'm definitely interested in continuing to play. And then of course, just looking at it from this time frame, right? Like if we break here, we know that we got to come back and mitigate. So and that's why I'm going to be taking more partials out of here. We could potentially see something here. Just keep walking it down, right? Just super, super clean. I've been really happy with ACAD and NCAD. I haven't been happy with NCAD spread though. On all of my brokers, and for some reason, I don't know, maybe there's just a lack of liquidity. Institutions aren't putting as much into it. NCAD spread has just been stupid. So, but on the NCAD side, much like I was talking about with NU, right? NCAD has just been super, super bearish compared to ACAD. So it's the leader, right? And obviously we're targeting a new low down here. You can see, you know, we're just coming back into supply, walking this down. I know several of you that have been able to work in some NCAD entries. So, you know, the key, let's get down to like a 5-minute. The key, you know, it gave some pretty clean entries in here that we were kind of hoping that they were going to come back and mitigate, which never happened. It did happen here during news, but again, news on a sell is bad for me. It's not something that ever works out very well. The spread always is going to get you out. So what I wanted to see was this, right? We had, this is, what was it? This was, yeah. Okay. So this is Friday's price action. This is Friday. This is the manipulation. We had a really clean distribution. I was looking to play out of this and she comes in, she gives a distro, right? She gave a distro, comes back into the 80%, gives a really, really nice reaction. And out of that, you know, you should have been relatively closer to break even than anything because it's really just break even plus spread. Price ends up coming back up, reaccumulating, taking you out. And now what I'm looking for is just looking at this as a large distribution. So I've got an alert at this low. Once we take out that low, so if this happens like this, I'm going to be looking to take out this price action. This is what I want to mitigate to then come lower with it. If we do not take this low and we push higher, what I'm going to be looking for is I want to see, do we, right? Because what's my line in the sand? My line in the sand is this, right? We went from here to here. Okay. So could we potentially play into 80% of that? Absolutely. You know, 80% of that. 80% of that lines up right here. So could we get one more drive to the upside? Could we say that we have a climax to a rally, to a secondary test, to an up thrust, to a UTAD, right? And then the break, mitigation, and down. Absolutely. And that's what's going to get me into this trade. So I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to watch it, set my alerts. You know, when it gives me the right confirmation, I'm going to pull the trigger on it and short this, right? Give it a really clean price action coming in to mitigate that redistro, because that's all this is, right? Accumulation, distribution, break, redistro. So you have your distribution, your redistro, and then potentially another redistribution coming here. All right. So I do like NCAD. I like ACAD cleaner. I think ACAD's way cleaner. I like the spread on ACAD because it's about half. So it costs me less to trade ACAD. You know, but either one is going to work. And regardless, I'm going to have both on the same chart because I'm going to use them for comparable strength. So this is my watch list this week for currencies. There's really nothing outside of those currencies that I'm really interested in. Not sure if anybody else is looking at something different, but unless it has some like high probability, and chances are, I mean, I've already done my prep work for the week. I see nothing else across the board, so I'm going to be just focusing on dollar crosses with it. Yeah. Before I jump into indices, does anybody have any questions on the currency side? Does it all make sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, dude. I know I say it every week, man, but I'm just exhausted. This past week, for those of you guys that don't know, I mean, yeah, this past week was just crazy high school volleyball games with my daughters. So, and this week's no different. So we're in the middle. I know club season's over, but high school season's full on. And yeah, especially when you have two girls that are playing high school volleyball, it gets extremely competitive when we're traveling. So I am worn out. I need like a vacation from a vacation is what I need. But did I check CAD? I don't think CAD. I mean, throw me your chart. Tell me what you're seeing on CAD. But for me, CAD is in my secondary list because it's in no man's land. So let's see. So what do we have on CAD? So nothing has changed. We are still here to here, right? And then we broke here. So we're here, right? So order flow is bearish from here. So if I'm going to be looking for a buy, I need to wait for this break up here, right? Or we need to come lower. So it either needs to, for me, for CAD, it either needs to go, let's see, it either needs to go another 170 pips up and then give me a pullback, or it needs to go probably 600 pips down. So there's nothing for me to play on CAD. I'm starting to get this. The key was understanding that I should measure the range of the schematic, not the whole move out of it. The range of the schematic, not the whole move. So it's up to you. I mean, I don't measure the range. I measure the manipulation is what I measure. Can I go over gold? I can. I don't think gold's changed in the last 12 months, but I mean, we can look at it unless you got something different. Throw me your gold chart. Tell me what you're looking at. We'll kind of break it down. Chef J, whenever Chef J decides to give a pullback, that's when I'll get into Chef J. So I'm still holding my positions on Chef J, but there's diddly nothing to do with this. So we need a break, right? I need to break, and then I'll be looking for this right here, but we still need to break this, or we need to come back into this. So there's absolutely, you say you don't care about what time frame structure is, and how do you conduct a top-down analysis on the leg structure, bro? Yeah, on the leg structure. So yeah, like, does it, this is my legs, this is my leg right here because of this break. It doesn't matter if this is a 4 hour, a 15-minute, or a weekly. It's the same leg. Yeah. So yeah, on Chef J, I mean, I'm still bullish. There's nothing different on the bias. I'm still bullish as crap on it, but I need this break, right? I need this break for it to get on my primary list. It needs to break, and then I'll play continuation move, or I'll play mitigation of the shakeout, because that's essentially what this was. This was your shakeout. So I'm still holding, like I said, I'm still holding from back in September on these. And I mean, I don't know what she's at. 2,500 pips is what she's at. So how I measure the manipulation, find where they initiated. If you're looking at the buy, find where they initiated the short, the sell. And then obviously, you know where the buy happened because you'll see the reaction, and just measure that sell into the buy. That's what they got to come back to mitigate. So if like this is your manipulation, So if this is my manipulation, this is where they initiated the sell, and then this is where the buy, because of the reaction we got, right? We know that the massive buy order came in there. I got to measure this whole thing. It doesn't matter if it's a 4 hour or a 4 second, right? It'd be the same thing. Figure out where the move actually manipulates. Let's see. I thought it was the top to the bottom. So it depends. Like on a reaccumulation, I'll measure the whole reaccumulation. But if I'm gonna try to find confluence, so I always start from higher and work down. Like if I'll give you like a scenario. So let's say that this. So let's say that's the reaccumulation, right? What I'm going to do is obviously the first thing I need to worry about is the whole reaccumulation. So I have that. And then now where's my shakeout? My shakeout starts here and my buy is here because of the reaction. So now I'm going to measure out from here to here. Okay. And chances are, obviously I drew this, but chances are that it happens quite often that 50% of your shakeout lines up with 80% of the whole move. And that becomes my X marks the spot where I'm going to take it from. Now, if I need to, and I need to go lower time frame, and I can find an accumulation in there that kind of gives me confluence and lines up with maybe the 80% of the shakeout, then that's where I start to play ball with, you know. But yeah, I always, it's just not one measurement for me. It's find confluence, find multiple reasons to take the entry from that price point, right? The more reasons that you have, the better. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Today's lessons for me was keep playing the zone until it says no. Yeah, man. And then when it takes you out, have your game plan, right? If it takes us out and it says no, but then goes ahead and breaks the new high, get back in, right? If it reaccumulates or it pulls back into your area of demand, right? The game's not over, right? It temporarily slapped you and told you to get out. The minute it gives you the entry to back in, take it. Have some setup on ECAD. Oh, ECAD. I'm gonna have to open your chart, bro, because I don't have ECAD on my trading view. ECAD, dude. I haven't looked at ECAD and probably I couldn't even tell you. So what are you looking to do? You're looking to short it from here? You're looking to short it from here? What setups do I usually risk 0.25% on? Anything from structure. So if it's a structure play, not an order flow play, I'll do full risk on it. Short position on ECAD. Let me see, bro. Let me see. I don't remember the last time I looked at ECAD. Yeah, look, this was the last time I marked it out. All right, so I don't know. On the 4 hour, I'd be looking here, man. Hold on. So let's see. What do we know? We know that this distro for sure. This distro caused the break. So our break is here. So this is maintaining the leg. That's maintaining the leg. So if she comes up there, that's where I'd be looking to short. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. So order flow. So this would be an order flow play for me. First question is, do we come into anything? So we just broke the low. Just broke the low. Where are we on this? All right, we're beyond the 50 on it. And what about on here? We got a little ways to go. Okay. So let's see. So what do we know? We know. All right, so we redistribute here. All right, so we redistribute. Price accumulates. And let's see. All right, so we come in there. I'd venture to say that that came into the 50. Yeah, she did. And all right, so the only thing up here is going to be here. That, because just looking at what we did in here, so I can tell that there's a type 1 there, right? So we break this. This is your distro manipulation, break of structure inside the schematic. We come back into the 50. We type 1 distro, make a new low. I guarantee you that this taps into the, I'm not going to, I mean, I guess we could just for shits and giggles. I'll throw it out there that this hits the 80% of the type 1 in there. So let's see. Let's see. When was this? This was, oh, all right. I can go 1 minute. So there she is. All right. So we have, what time was this? This is Heart of New York. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe the 5 minute. Is it the 6? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time trying to find a candle, but we'll give or take. So I'm going to go on a limb and say that this is where she comes to right there. Let's see. Where does she come to? Oh, on the flipping money, bro. On the money. There she is. Okay. So that's been mitigated. All right. So the only thing is going to be the 80%. This mitigates here. We break. Looks like we come back into 50% of the redistro. All right. So let's get back out to like a 30 minutes so I can see exactly what the heck's going on. All right. So yeah, no, that's pretty much what I'm looking at. The only thing I would look to play. Yeah, the only thing I would look to play is if I was going to trade this, I have an alert at this Asian high right here, and we get up anywhere in this area, I'd be looking for a short. So, but it'd be schematic driven because it's only order flow. This is the order flow leg. So yeah. All right. At least, yeah, sounds good, man. Hopefully that makes sense. I'd like to know my opinion on NAS. Good luck. We'll look at it. I mean, today I looked at it and I said, it took me, I think, correct me, for those of you guys on the call with me, it took what, 5 minutes for me to say, I don't like anything about indices, and I went on to currencies. We'll look at it. I just don't really know. What setups do I usually? Yeah, I got that one for you. Short position, you got it. So on GU, you wouldn't risk 0.25% unless it was from a distribution maintaining the extreme of the let. Correct. Yep. Yeah. So all order flow plays are 0.1/16%. So you got it. Yeah. I don't risk full risk on order flow plays. So you really don't even need to. All right, so let's jump over to indices real quick. I'll tell you this: somebody asked for gold. Good luck, man. I couldn't even tell you. Gold for the last 12 months has just been crap for me. I haven't even given it a second look. Ever since, I'll tell you what, ever since we did this was the last real time that I took anything on gold was the work up. And then the fact that we never broke this high tells me that we're still in the leg. And I mean, what do I think is going to happen? I've been talking about it for a while. I'm bearish on this. Like I'm expecting us to come right here. 1578 or 1502, somewhere in here is where we're coming. So yeah, I mean, I could care less about trying to short it. It's not. One thing I noticed about gold is it's not giving any kind of mitigations. So what? Hold on, I thought I had it marked up on one of these. Yeah, I mean, this is all just, you look at GU and then you look at gold and you say to yourself, let me come over here. Let me highlight gold. Let me put my cursor over the X and let me select that and just get it off my watch list, because that's how I look at gold. Yeah. I'm doing two down. Wait, I'm doing top down analysis, but I confuse specifically where structure is maintained from. You got any tips? Follow your market cycle. So if it's redistributions, then continuation moves can't hold structure. So you have to have a distribution that comes into previous supply, or accumulation that comes into previous demand. You have to have a completed market cycle. So if price is, let's just say that we're in a bullish market and this is, there we go. This is the distro that comes down, and then we accumulate. That accumulation then leads to the reaccumulation, which then reaccumulates, right? What's maintaining the leg? It's the accumulation. So until you have a market cycle where the distribution now pulls back into an area of demand, specifically my slingshot or my extreme, we do not have another market cycle. So that's how I look at leg structure. Doesn't matter if it's on the daily, the 1 minute, or the 1 week, right? It's all the same leg structure. Did I learn from bounce back? No. I would say never. I won't even say it. Never mind. No, I did not. No. I would say that one specific educator from Trade House I learned some basic stuff from, and I'd credit that person with really jumpstarting my journey into Wyckoff. But outside of that, it was everything from outside sources and all that. Bounce back does not. No, they don't trade like this, bro. Yeah, they don't trade like this. All right. So anyway, let's get over to indices. Maybe you guys can help me decipher what the heck I'm gonna. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of you guys, Julio, I know you were on this morning, man. Like, what did I say? I go, I really don't want to buy price. I really don't want to buy anything that we're looking at. And I really didn't want to sell anything until we confirmed the redistro. So like what do let's start with US 30, right? Like, let's hide all this shenanigans. What do I see happening here? Well, I mean, we know that we broke order flow here, right? We know that the distro up here is maintaining the leg, right? So we know we accumulated, we know we reaccumulated. So ideally, I think my main point of interest that I want to get into is this right here, that or this. All right. Where can you learn from? Jump on my YouTube, man. I got all kinds of videos on my YouTube channel. That or jump in the Aporia group. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, man. All right. So this is my, and you can see my alert sitting right here around 31,350. I think we've got another like 800 points to get down here too. This is really where I'm going to start looking for buys out of here. And, you know, when we look at the distro here, the distro looks like crap. It's disorganized. So for me, it's not really evident of short sellers entering the market and just throwing in some huge short orders. It's not. For me, I think it's more everybody that's been buying this whole leg just took some profits, you know, especially after taking these highs. So, you know, what do? We redistributed, and lo and behold, we never mitigated. And then we redistributed, and lo and behold, we never came back to mitigate. So I'm kind of like torn between, you know, what I want to go and where I want to go with it. I can tell you this, the easy answer is I'm going to play the order flow. So current order flow is right here. The distro that happens here causes this break. So we come back up into 50% of this leg, which is this alert right here. We come back into 50% of that. I'd be looking to short. All right. London crossover actually gave, I don't know if anybody saw it, but it gave a distro in there. Now, would I ever have taken this distro? No. I mean, it's not in a point of interest. I mean, we're just nothing, but it is here, right? This is your distro right here. So, you know, we don't even break order flow, and then it comes back to mitigate, and then off it goes. So, you know, it's there. I would never have taken it. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you right now, the best advice I can give you when it's confusing, you do exactly what I said, like this morning. I said, nah, it's just going to sit on my list. It's going to sit on the watch list, and I'll look at it, but I'm definitely not throwing money at this, and when we look, let's just look at it like on a 5-minute chart for a second, right? Look at everything that happened in the last 48 hours. Like, what are we seeing here? Nothing. I would have liked if this distribution happened here and then we broke. Yeah, I'd have a limit order out of the distro. But we don't have that. We have this ugly price act. So there's just really nothing I want to play out of this. So again, I measure the entire redistro. This is 50%. We get above the 50%, I'll be looking for a schematic to short this. When I look at just what's happening down here, there's not a lot of evidence of buyers. Yes, did a buy order come in here? Yes. Did a buy order come in here? Yes. So that means that we're in 1-2 drive. I'd still need maybe a 3rd drive and maybe a spring that takes out Asian session, right? For me to even be interested in trying to play something like this to go up. But I really need it to start putting something together. As it is right now, nothing. I'm not interested in doing anything with this. Let's see, SPX, same price action, right? Where I'm looking bigger picture. Now we are a little closer because this is where I do want to see if we get anything out of, right? This reaccumulation that swept the low. Right. I do like that. We've got another, I think it's like 35 points to get down into it. So, we'll see what happens. I'm not interested in trying to, my game plan with indices right now, where we are in the middle, right? Because that's what we are, right? We're not at the height of the range, and we're not at the discount of the range. We're smack dab in the middle. So for me, it's just play the order flow and take partials along the way. When I look at most recent price action, right, what do we have? Diddly squat. I mean, just absolutely nothing. Same thing. We had a really nice distro on here, just never broke. So my sell idea went out the window from that. And then we had this just small micro type 1 that comes back to mitigate the 80%, and then just the collapse. So we come back up into, this area, especially like New York Open from this morning. I'm going to give it a really good look to see if I can see evidence of sellers, meaning I see a really clean distribution, and then I'll start shorting it from there. But I need to see that evidence, right? Anything shy of doing that, I'm just gambling. I'm just throwing a 50-50 shot at it. And I don't like to do that, right? I like to have a really good basis for the analysis and understand what I'm going to do with it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Now, NASDAQ's the only one that I think gave an entry out of the open. So, but that's it. I mean, same thing. Like, there's really nothing in here. Now, there was a potential entry out of the distro, but again, I was still waiting. And this is something I said this morning. I really wanted us to take out Frankfurt low, right? Frankfurt low is where the reaccumulation really got this thing going and make the new high. So I wanted that, and I really wanted to target some Asian liquidity. I really wanted them to just sweep all of that out. So that's what they did. I mean, we had ICE, so we have a confirmed redistro, and same thing. Like, we come back into yesterday's or this morning, I guess, is price action. I'm going to be looking for evidence to short this down. And then where I'm going to be taking it is just to make a new low, maybe get in. Ideally, the perfect scenario would be something like this. So the perfect scenario would be that price. Let's get up to a 30-minute chart. There we go. So the perfect scenario for me would be price coming up. Oh, come on. There we go. Annotate. There we go. Price coming on up, giving me a distribution that I can get into, right? Taking it down so that I can now work in a hedge. And when I get that hedge protected and reduce risk, take more partials off the sell, and then wait to see what happens when we come up here. If this ends up taking this out and hitting break even, so be it. I make it up on here. If it ends up coming in and giving me a distro here, once I go to reduce risk, close out some more partials from this and let it ride down. So I'll be looking to hedge it definitely on indices. I'm not really interested in trying to hedge like dollar crosses just because I don't see that evidence of doing that. But I will most definitely be looking to hedge on indices. So, and that's kind of my game plan with the indices. I mean, nothing really outside of that I'm looking to do. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, there's really nothing clean. It's not like the last month or two where we just had really, really clean schematics and really clean price action. This is just really disorganized. Now, could it be because we're coming into September? Yeah, I think so. September traditionally has just crappy price action because of the fiscal calendar, and banks needing to close out their books, getting new portfolios, filling out all of their regulatory forms and statuses. So I think we're going to start to see just a little pullback on liquidity coming in, especially on these larger funds. And so be it. That's kind of why I don't do a lot of trading in September, but that's pretty much everything I've got. Nothing really outside of this watch list is what I'm looking at. Like I said, a lot of the yen crosses, I'm just kind of waiting for breaks, waiting for confirmations to now, kind of promote them to my primary list. And other than that, if anybody else has any questions, if not, I got through this pretty quick, so I'm happy, man. That I can actually go and enjoy the rest of the evening. So awesome. All right. Well, listen, if nobody else has any questions, like I said, it's NFP week. Make sure just, practice your proper risk management. Make sure you're journaling everything. One of the key things over and over and over and over again, everybody always tells me that once they really commit themselves to really following their journal, inputting everything and following their trading plan, that information is invaluable to them. And it really allows them to, start working in the right direction, which is profitability. So awesome. Listen, thanks for hopping on. I'll catch everybody later, man. Have a good one.